Well, I think your analysis was very straight line. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing funds.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go down that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got that.
Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
Yes,
but
okay,
an
he's good.
erratic
Mikhail
detective
Rodriguez.
is Mikhail Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, girl, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Kingdom, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hi there. Sorry for the delay by a couple of minutes. Technical problems in the studio. But the show must go on. I'm alone on the console this evening, but we'll have a co-host next Friday. Thanks for being with us. This is our regular Friday evening call-in program, and I would hope you call in and talk about so many things. The visit of Secretary of State Mark Rubio and what he had to say. I would suggest if you didn't see it, you go and see it. What he had to say is bound up with the future of Guyana and its economy. Melly Mel is on bail. And for all the hurrah, all the condemnation that the government was responsible, the woman got detained for a simple overstaying of her visa. So call in and let's talk about all of that. All of those things. I will do my introduction on what Secretary of State Mark Rubio has said. And it's very, very important. I would regard my introductory remarks here as one of the most important offering I have given on this program since it started 2.5 years, or 2 years, 8 months. I'd like to discuss with you, and I'd like to hear from you, based on what is happening with United States foreign policy, because it has implications for Guyana. I am not concerned with the rest of the world to the extent to which I'm concerned about my own country. Now, so let's talk about what Secretary Mark Rubio said in Guyana and what he said in Jamaica. And the Jamaican Prime Minister was quite direct in rejecting the United States policy of Caribbean countries stopping Cuban doctors from working here. Now, I keep saying senator because I knew him as a senator. Secretary of State Mark Rubio came here and he was, for want of a better word, he was running down Chinese road construction in Guyana. But contextually, he was talking about China in Guyana. And that is so important to understand where the United States government is going with the Cuban thing, the Cuban doctor thing, and where the United States government is going with China in the world. Now, President Trump said that Greenland is of strategic interest to the United States, and he would like the United States to take it over. President Trump and the United States government has initiated tariffs on some very historic close friends of the United States. He said they've been treating the United States unfairly international trade, and it's in the interest of the U.S. economy for him to put tariffs on the EU and Canada. Now, bear in mind, there is nothing wrong with what Mr. Trump has said. What goes wrong is when countries decide to abandon their own interests at the dictates of other countries. Mr. Trump said the tariffs on EU and Canada, EU countries and Canada, are in the interest of the economy of the United States. These tariffs will help the United States. Secretary of State Rubio came here and he was quite flippant about Chinese road investment in Guyana. He spoke about bad roads they have done. What are the meaning of the tariffs of Mr. Trump, the Greenland issue, the Cuban doctors, and Secretary of State Mark Rubio and the Chinese thing? In the middle 60s, now this is one of my important introductory remarks, and I would ask you to listen to it. If you are afraid to call in based on living in the US, I would understand that, and we'll come to that. Now, in the middle 60s, the countries that got independence were left to their own by the former colonies. They were simply poor. They were wallowing in poverty. They were underdeveloped. They're still referred to as underdeveloped countries, and now there's a euphemism, developing countries. Well, if they're developing or if they're underdeveloped, then they have a far way to go. So the entire post-colonial world, Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, decided that development issues were more important than international politics, than superpower rivalry. Russia versus USSR versus United States wasn't their concern. Their concern was feeding their people, having good roads, having lights on the road, having hospitals. So they formed something called the non-aligned movement, in which they would tread a neutral path. They will be friends with the USSR, but let's call it Russia now, China, the Middle East, the Arab countries, the former European empires, the United States, because their sole business was developing Guyana, developing Jamaica, developing Uganda, developing Tanzania, developing the newly independent countries. They wanted potable water for their people. They wanted good transport system. They wanted hospitals. They weren't going to get that by fastening up under one country. They said, we will ask the United States to help us. We will ask China to help us. We will ask Russia to help us. It was commonsensical. It was asinine, stupid, ignorant, idiotic for these newly independent countries to say, no, I'm sticking with communism. I don't want nothing to do with the United States. No. United States are our friends. I'm sticking with the United States. Well, you could say that if Russia or China or the United States are taking care of you like a baby, like what the United States does to Israel. The United States literally keep Israel alive. It's its baby. From a toothpick to a jet fighter, the United States provide that with Israel. Israel does the sensible thing. Its best friend is its patron, the United States. Jamaica, Guyana, Tanzania, India, they don't have a patron. They go out into the world and trade with everyone. What has happened, and this is where Senator Rubio, Secretary of State Rubio comes in. I don't know why I keep calling him Senator. This is where Secretary of State Rubio comes in, and every Guyanese should listen to what he said, and every Guyanese should listen to what Prime Minister Holness said to him at the press conference. Just like how he stood with our President Ali and he was speaking about the Chinese, he stood next to President Holness of Jamaica and he was talking about the Cuban doctors. We in the third world, we in the global south, we in the developing world, we need to spread our tentacles far and wide across planet Earth and trade with people whose trade benefit us. The Chinese are now a superpower, an enormously rich country. Don't take my word for it. Go to YouTube and see what those people countries like. It's ultra modern. It's unbelievable what the airport is like. How you can go from hundreds of miles in a train in minutes. So we need that kind of technology from China, from the United States. But there is a problem. Who is going to give you that at a special rate? Now, what Secretary of State Mark Rubio is saying, we can build roads. Said that. We can build better roads. You got to be careful accepting what Secretary of State Rubio said. When we put out a contract, when we put out a tender for companies worldwide to build a road, some of them will build it for 5 billion, some of them will build it for 10 billion, some of them will build it for 20 billion. A poor country like Guyana has to look at the United States, China, Russia, Pakistan, India, and see which one is going to be more helpful and less expensive in building our airports, in building our sea defense. So it's all good for Mark Rubio to come here and talk about Chinese road construction. The Chinese do good roads. So are the Americans, so are the Russians, so are the Indians. Building roads is no special American technology. We need to build roads and build airports from loans given to us by India, China, etc. Let me read something for you that's going to shock you. And I'm reading it for you and ask you to carefully reflect on what Secretary of State Mark Rubio said yesterday. We have a country to build. We should not take sides. The only side we should take is the side of ending poverty and developing Guyana. Let me read to you what a Guyanese top international diplomat wrote. His name is Sir Ron Sanders. He is the son-in-law of Shridath Ramphal. He is the Antiguan ambassador to the UN. Listen carefully, please, if you're a Guyanese. Listen to what I'm going to read to you, what Sir Ron Sanders said, and then you will see we got a country to build. We just can't tell Russia, Iran, China, United States, the UK. No, we want nothing to do with you. Listen to this, please. I am going to read it twice. The 14 nation independent states of the Caribbean community have been at the bottom of U.S. official development assistance for decades. In 2019, for instance, total U.S. foreign assistance globally was U.S. $47 billion, of which collectively CARICOM countries receive $338 million or 0.7%. For emphasis, that is less than 1% of the global total. Of that amount, Haiti received US $268 million. Of that, $338 million for CARICOM. Haiti got $268 million. Leaving the other 13 CARICOM countries to share $70 million. For 9 of those 13 countries in CARICOM, the sum provided did not amount to US $1 million. I'm going to read that again. Forget about what Secretary of State Mark Rubio said. The Chinese in that same period have provided more than $1 million US to every CARICOM country. You ever go to Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent? Those are our sister Caribbean countries, and the minute you land there, you see that they need to develop their airports, to develop their roads. So the Chinese have come here and have given the third world generous aid. How do you contextualize what Secretary Rubio is saying? He is saying something that is logical to him, logical to his country. We have to respond to him with what is logical for our country. Senator Rubio, I've given up saying Secretary of State. Mr. Rubio, Mr. Trump belong to a country that is fantastically powerful. And that country has a global interest to protect. And there are other countries that are impinging on the global interests of the United States. And there's a word for it in the classroom. It's called global rivalry. Global rivalry began thousands of years ago in the Mediterranean Peninsula with the Greek city-states, and it's continued up to now. There's no communism in Russia. Russia is now a country full of religion, full of capitalism, but the European countries still see it as a rival, as when it was a communist country and they told the world, don't worry with Russia, they're godless. Russia now has God, the Christian God. Russia is now capitalist with rich billionaires, but the Europeans still saying, that's a bad country. That's because of rivalry. We need development assistance. We don't need to take sides with superpower rivalry. I repeat, it is idiotic, stupid, asinine for a country in the third world to say, I like United States. I don't want no aid from China. I can stay with the United States. To do that, you got to be stupid. If the United States even isn't giving you the aid that China is giving you, this is coming from a man who is not anywhere near supportive of China or Russia. He's an international diplomat for the past 30 years who worked in the international global economic system. And this is what he said in 2019. In 2019, 9 of 13 CARICOM countries, US aid development assistance did not amount to $1 million US. 9 CARICOM countries in 2019 didn't even get $1 million. American dollar in development assistance. And you are telling us with that record that Guyana should not continue with Cuban medical assistance? You know what the Prime Minister Holney said? Rubio was right there when Holney said, no. No, the Cuban medical assistance have been very, very crucial to the upkeeping of the medical system in Jamaica, in Guyana, in Barbados. Secretary of State Mark Rubio has a particular hatred for Cuba. His father was victimized by the Castro regime. His father is Cuban. So you understand where Rubio is coming from. Rubio's father was victimized by the Cuban regime. He has his problem with Cuba. We haven't suffered that trauma that Mark Rubio has suffered. So we cannot see Cuba psychologically the way Mr. Rubio sees Cuba. We are too poor to bother with fastening up under Russia, fastening up under China. We can't do that. We simply can't do that. The United States is our friend. For geopolitical, geostrategic reason, the United States will help Guyana in case of an invasion. But we have a country to build. We below sea level. We are 83,000 square miles. We need to get rid of some of that wasted forest and put investment in it. We need investors to come here and help us with our agriculture. We have a vast country. We need to develop our agriculture so we can feed the Caribbean. We're not going to do that if we decide that only China or only the US we are going to trade with. It is pathetic, unprecedented ignorance, and no third world country will accept that. That leader, that elected leader in any third world country is going to be voted out in the next election, because when you fasten yourself on the one country and your poverty isn't being alleviated, you're not getting development assistance, then when you look around, your people are going to be frustrated, your people are going to be in need, in dire need, and your opposition are going to say, you see, vote for us, we're going to take you out of this poverty. So even if the third world leaders want to side with any one of the superpowers, they can't, because they're getting money from different sources to help their country. I hope you understand where Secretary of State Rubio is coming from. You have to understand where President Trump is coming from. He's the head of a superpower. United States have interests on planet Earth. Some of those interests, the United States may feel are being jeopardized by China, by Russia, by India. We don't have any concern there because we are a small unknown country. The French ambassador to Guyana said, nobody in France knows about Guyana. So why we are going fastening up ourselves under some 2 or 3 superpowers? We have to maintain friendship with all of them because they're going to be superpowers for a long time to come, and we're going to be an unknown country that the French people don't know about. So the Jamaican Prime Minister is right. President Ali is right that we have received the Cubans and we've paid them account to international labor standards, and they serve a purpose here. I don't expect you from the diaspora to call in, because the United States government is operating with artificial intelligence, and they're able to catch those phone calls that, says things about the American government, and you could be under surveillance. But local Guyanese could call and explain how they feel about what Senator Rubio said about the Chinese. The Chinese are building, helping our infrastructure in very generous ways. I live yards from a highway that the Chinese are constructing. I see them working all the time, and it's from development assistance from China. I think now that the United States and Russia are coming to terms as friends and are seeking investment in each other country, we have to go out and seek investment from Russia. It's no longer United States enemy, so we have to be afraid of the United States. I said that in one of my Chronicle columns. CARICOM must now go out and seek trade and investment with the largest country in the world, Russia. One of the richest countries in the world, Russia. We didn't do that because the United States, our traditional allies, say, listen, don't touch Russia. But now the United States and Russia are engaged in the French term, which is used in international relations. It's a French term, rapprochement. I know some people call it rapprochement. It is spelled MENT, but that's silent. It's rapprochement, not rapprochement. So, Colin, if you have a comment on Mr. Rubio and what the Jamaican Prime Minister had to say, or Colin about Melly Mel. Now, Melly Mel is on $7,000 bail because the AI, I wish I could play a clip for you, but Leonard Craig, the co-host of this program, was showing you how Melly Mel got caught up. It's AI, artificial intelligence, powerful artificial intelligence that the United States is using, that they can determine who criticized Trump, who overstayed their visa, what have you. So she overstayed her visa and was caught in the AI trap. And the Guyanese opposition staged a march at the Square of the Revolution, accusing the government of being one of the most powerful third world countries, that the government of Guyana asked the United States to arrest Melly Mel. The woman got caught up in the AI net of the United States intelligence agencies, and she was found to be overstaying her visa. Now, she's on bail. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Kissoon.
Yes.
Do you feel that the road that he was complaining about, Mr. Rubio was complaining about, is it?
If I know the road that he's complaining about?
Yes.
I don't know the road he's complaining about. I don't know how Mr. Rubio reached Georgetown. I don't know if it's through Ogle Airport or Tamari by car. If it's Ogle Airport, I traveled there. He came here yesterday. I was there 3 days before. I didn't encounter any road that could give you concussion, as he said. If it's Tamari, I went there 2 weeks ago. And from Tamari, I came down to Georgetown, and I didn't see any terrible road that if you drive on it could give you concussion, as Mr. Rubio said. And Mr. Rubio would have been transported in one of those top cars of the world where you wouldn't actually feel those bumps. I don't know which road he's talking about.
I think he mentioned the Heroes Highway.
He didn't mention that in his speech. He's talking about a road that he traveled on that could give him, that could give you concussion. I don't know which road he's talking about.
I know we are accustomed to these kind of roads in any case. But what I would like to say is that we should take pattern from all these leaders, because when we normally say a road is not well built, they would ask us if we are engineers. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening, sir. Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. Now, it goes to show, regardless of who build the roads, it doesn't matter. But what we need to do is get Guyana, in the schemes and all over. We really need, not because, okay, China is giving us money or whoever is giving the money or giving us the loan. We should really get our engineers to do a better job, because most of the roads, we're not getting value for money. We're getting a road. The idea is great. We need that, but we are not getting value for money. And how long it doesn't stop, it would go down badly on the government, right? And if people from outside would come and say, look, that you got terrible road, I'm a driver. Indeed, we got terrible, right? It is a little better than what we had before, but come on, we could do better. We could. All right? So what we need to do is anybody that say, look, you got a damn bad road, it's bad, well, okay, fine. Could you help us with some engineers? Could you help us with some engineer? We would gladly, and we're happy to receive engineer from America or wherever. As an assistant or something, we would be happy to receive it. The help. Other than that, Mr. Kissoon.
Well, I thought when Mr. Rubio said that, he would have been generous to say, well, okay, listen, that road that almost gave me concussion when I go back to Washington, we will see what we can do to make it right. We will send some engineers. You're right. You're right.
Another thing is that, tell me something. Tenders. When tenders have been given out, is it published worldwide?
When government send out tenders, I believe I believe it is done in a way that companies around the world can see that Guyana is advertising for to build an airport. I think so. In years ago, 40 years or 50 years ago, I know third world governments, post-colonial governments used to advertise it in the Economist, the magazine. Because when I was at UG, that's still in the 70s, and I reading the Economist magazine, you would see these advertisements. Jamaica, Malawi, Tanzania, is tendering out for a dam being built or a bridge being built. I don't think they put it in the Economist anymore, but I would think that these developing countries would advertise it globally. So China, India, Indonesia, Portugal would know.
I think that we should start doing that.
I think we do that. The problem is, not to cut you, the problem is you have to accept a tender that is $5 billion less than another tender. And I guess that's why the Chinese have so much presence in developing countries. They don't charge you that amount.
Anyway, if it was the Hero Highway, I'm sure that is the highway that he traveled on, and I guarantee you that wasn't built by the Chinese.
So I was told that wasn't built by the Chinese.
No, it was 12 other companies. So I know that the Chinese not to be blamed. And so far, I could say that the Chinese are also doing a good job in the road construction.
But Mr. Rubio came here with superpower rivalry in mind, and the greatest threat in the United States global power, and I'm saying that mutual free. Whether we like United States or not, whether we like Russia or not, United States is a superpower, and superpower have rivals. So he's saying that against his rival, China, the United States and China are in intense rivalry.
Anyway, we love America, though. We got no quarrel with America. America is, regardless of what Rubio said, we love America, and Guyana would always be, very close to America. But we need the help also.
I don't think so. Anybody in this country has a negative thing about US. We grew up with US being our neighbor, US, Canada, India. But we have to get a first-class hospital. I can tell you the Georgetown Hospital is excellent, and we need it to be more excellent. So we need Russian, Chinese, American help to make the Georgetown Hospital bigger and better. We're not going to make it bigger and better if we depend on one country alone to help us.
No. But Mr. Kissoon, I think that Mr. Rubio have a plan to take us under their wings like how they have Israel. We would be the second person that is going under the American wing. So
Are you serious? The Americans would treat us the way they treat Israel. The Americans treat Israel that way because of the enormous investment of the Jewish race in the United States. Why would the United States treat us so special? Are you serious?
We got oil that we're not.
Well, if we got oil, that's fine. We would have their friendship because of their oil, because of our oil, and it should. There's nothing wrong in that. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong if the U.S. gets closer to Guyana because of the strategic interest in our oil.
We're buying a lot of jets soon from them also. So we got $3 billion in the reserve. So definitely they would be getting some money from us.
Well, my conclusion is that I hope we get money from all our friends in the world, because I tell you this, we are nowhere near being a developed country as yet.
I get you. Anyway, Mr. Kissoon, thanks for the time.
Okay.
You have a blessed night.
Yeah, you too. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Frederick.
Yes, good evening.
You hear me clear?
Yeah, I'm hearing you clear. Right. Yeah, go ahead. I'm hearing you and I'm listening to you.
Yes. These roads that have been made, the guy just said at how some of the road is not so good. Is this true? But not all of them. Some of the streets and the concrete roads that they make, some are very, very bad. Some people do some bad job on the road then. And these are people who don't know about construction. They're stubborn and it's still going on. It's still going on. Some of the roads are pretty bad still. But, the government is trying its best to please people, but people who is making the government is looking bad. And we're seeing that. And I wouldn't blame the government, but the engineers are who's supposed to see those things done properly. But they are the one who sit at their home and ain't got time to do certain things. That's it, when the government got to start in the village, you always got to encounter people who complain because of the bad things that are going on, but the government doesn't know what's going on. The government, one good thing to happen for the citizens in the country. The my strength is utmost best, but it's people who feel in. And I feel this election, 100% people is going to win this election, but I don't know about another term because, let me tell you, they will have a lot of complaints about these roads and a lot. And the people who are in place to take care of the government business, they don't care about the people. Because if you look, for instance, councillors, then you check these councillors, then I think the government one bad mistake. That's my opinion. Is that the government make councillors them, let them get contract. And that's very bad. Because when you get contract as a councillor, you don't have time with the people, and that's happening in Colverton. You have garbage then on the road 3-4 weeks. You warm up pick them. They don't have time with you. They get contract, you're looking at to make money. I think that was very, very bad. No government, you should never have contract. I don't think that way. And that's the reason why we are always, and the rest of people are always saying that corrupt, the people corrupt. You understand it? The government people should never have contract. I don't think that way. They should get other people to this contract. And Chinese people do make a lot of good roads. Don't get carried away. Because if you check Chinese bridges that these people make in the country, China are doing very good work.
Well, if if you take a, just after you come out this program, just go to YouTube and Google and see what China is like. That country's airport, no other country in the world has such an area. You ever see those people trains?
Look the roads and the people that make how much feet, 100 feet up in the air. That's something easy.
The Chinese are giving us generous loans, and we should continue with it.
Yes, I don't think so. What you have said, we don't hold one country, we hold from each and every country we can get markings and help from. We are now developing country.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my opinion on it. Thank you so much, Mr. Freddie.
Right. Good, Colin. My cell number is on the screen, 614-5927. Call in and talk about Chinese investment in Ghana. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go on. I'm listening.
Very good evening to you, Brother Kissoon. Two quick comment contribution to your program. The first one is on the road. I want to believe that the road that Mr. Ruby is speaking about has to be the road coming from Mary to about Grove, or he's speaking about the road, the Heroes Highway coming into Georgetown. Because the Heroes Highway road, that road is very, no vehicle can drive smooth on the road. The road is very wavy, and it has a lot of humps, and if you have to be very careful when you're driving on the road. If I want to believe those are the road he speaks. As I think as a state visit, they won't drive you on any road. They will drive you on certain roads in an extra. We don't need, people shouldn't be annoyed because they come to Metro Rubio, because people right here in Ghana be speaking about the quality of work that these contractors give you. These contractors in Ghana do not give you value for money. But for some reason, people in charge or we just overlook these things. These contractors do not give you value for money. If they did a contract with $10 million, they will spend about $7 or $6 million and give you the work and go out with the rest of the money. That is what is taking place throughout Ghana. Another thing with those who know engineering, a lot of these people who doing works, they're not engineers. They're not training engineers. When you observe the way they carry out their works, you will know that they don't know about engineering. So, concrete, and this will need time to cure. You can't lay something today and then tomorrow you pass it, and it needs time to cure. And some of these roads and some of these buildings, they're building it too fast. So when they build this thing and then they don't know, next 2 morning, it start cracking up and starting because it was not properly cured. That is why works in Guyana that is being built in the modern times, it destroys so quickly. If you observe some of the works that were built in a long time ago, they're still standing. But things that have been built recently, they're being destroyed because they're building them too fast and they're not getting value for money. So it is not nothing new. But people don't listen. We ignore who make contribution. These park road that they're building in the community, they're not being built well. They're building with square shoulders, so you can't tire to never go near the edge. If you can't only go near the edge, it's a problem. First of all, if your car fall off, your bottom is on the road. There's one. You're not building it with a rung on a shoulder, and it's building too narrow. It is a one-way road they're building. 2 vehicles cannot pass at the same time. And now people, since they started with these concrete road, people have been telling them, but the people at authority have knowing people about it with these concrete road that they're building. Good. The next contribution I want to make is to your colleague, Craig, but for a few Fridays now, I'm not seeing him on your Friday program.
He will never be. He hasn't been on the Friday program since he became a co-host because he's a Seventh-day Adventist, and at sunset, they have to avoid normal everyday activities.
Oh yeah. Understood. But he has a view which is very disappointing. He has a view which is very disappointing because I listened to his use of his contribution. He has a view where that when you work for the party, and the party wins government, that party must know do its best to ensure that those people who would have worked according to his terms work hard to put the party in government, that you must do fine jobs for those people. Remember, when you take government, you have people who are working in the various ministries, you have people in position, you have people there. So you can't just willy-nilly. So his position where you gotta find, maybe the people find political work for them. I am not against that. Political appointments.
No. Stop there. I know Craig, and I know what he was doing when he was in government. I can tell you this. He's been a long friend of mine. I taught him at UG more than 30 years ago. And I know what he was doing when they were in government. He wasn't trying to put people in the public service. The public service,
No.
He was trying to do that very...
What is
Yeah, he wanted...
program?
Yeah, he wanted...
Point on your program.
He made the point that there should be a kind of arrangement where these people get jobs that are politically related in areas where if the government change, then that project goes out the window. But find a project where you could employ them. That is what he meant. I will replay when he comes on the program again. I will play this part of the program with you, and I'll ask him to comment. Anyway, go ahead.
I think he is annoyed because he didn't get a position. That's why he left the AFC. I think there's his grouse. I think his grouse is that he's annoyed because he wasn't given some top post. You can't just go in and get jobs. If you're working for a party, just forget a quick position. We have politicians.
I don't think you should say that. I don't think.
When a government lose.
No.
Let me finish quickly. This is the last sentence. The politicians we have again, if you do a race, to check it out. When a government lose, two things the politicians do. They either switch party or they leave the country and go away. That's what they do.
I wish you stay on the line. You want to tell? I know the other callers want to get you, but you didn't tell me how these people got power, so they could decline to get jobs to other people. So these people, they got a part of the sky that when it's election, these people drop down from the sky and they become ministers and they form the government. I would think that is what you were saying.
You may have, for example, I just heard that you said they have 15,000 new members in the party. No, 50,000 youth and 10,000 other new members. That's 25,000 people. Now you are telling me that when the PP win government, all of those people go to the other government.
No. You're exaggerating and you're stretching.
I'm not exaggerating.
No.
You have 20 ministries.
No. Sorry, you misunderstood. I don't know Jack Doe said that, but I don't doubt you.
No.
But you're misunderstanding what Jack Doe said. 15,000 supporters. But who said, listen to me. Those supporters that Jack Doe talking about, many of them don't need jobs. They're well-paid lawyers, well-paid doctors, so engineers and doctors and lawyers and university professors, they don't support political parties too. So when Jack Doe say we got 15,000 new members, it doesn't mean it's 15,000 people who need a job. Why you jump to that conclusion?
I'm using Mr. Craig.
You're exaggerating, Mr. Craig.
Craig is saying one of the reasons why the AFC fall because when they were in government.
But you said that and you haven't answered my question.
That's what you were saying.
You haven't answered my question. How did the AFC got into power? According to you, they dropped from the sky and got into power. Explain to me now before we go how they got into power. You said Craig didn't get a job and he was annoyed. So who give Ramjatan a job? Who give Granger a job? Who give Trotman a job? Why did Trotman get a job over Craig? Listen to me, man. Why did Trotman get a job over Craig? Who gave Trotman a minister job? You?
Trotman is a long-serving politician long before Leonard Craig. Trotman was in the PNC. Remember, you have a part.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you that. I asked you how. I asked you who gave how he became a minister.
And I don't believe that when you say you went to get for a minister swearing. I don't believe. I think there's a contact.
That happened, sir. That happened.
No, that is not. Yeah, maybe you may know. You may know. You may know.
Anyway.
But I don't think that's true. I don't think.
Okay, well.
He went to swearing some minister and
I don't think it's true what you're saying about Trotman, that he was a long serving.
I don't think it's right. I think he's contacting something there, but the promise of minister when he turned up for swearing. These things don't happen, so.
I know, but you still don't. Look, I am going to go. I am going to go now. Because you keep talking and you're not answering me question. Who made Ramjatan and who made Granger the president? Craig has contribute more politically than Granger.
They came through a process where
Craig come through a process? Listen, I live in this country my whole life. Which process Granger came through? Which process? Granger became president by default and knew nothing about politics. Which process Granger came through by? Craig contribute more politically to this country than Granger. So what are you telling me? I live this.
So you say Craig had more vote poll than Granger.
Granger had no poll. That is why the government fell down. He was the most lackluster president in CARICOM.
All right, brother.
Right, good.
All right.
Good, thanks. Thanks for coming through.
You probably have the same position because they didn't give you back the UG job.
Who's we? Tell me, let me talk. Who's we? Who is we that didn't give me the UG job? Who is we? Who is we that didn't give me the UG? Man, listen, if you're not going to answer my question, I'm going to cut you off. Who is we? They say, because they didn't give me who is they that didn't give me the job back?
The coalition government.
How they come into power and who gave them the power so they can refuse to give me back the job at UG? Who had more contribution to Guyana? Look, the people vote them in.
Yeah,
the people vote. How do people vote them in? Two people like Craig knocking house to house and asking people to vote for them. Look. So please examine your mind. You don't know if you're coming. You don't know if you're coming across. Anyway.
When the PP win back.
Pardon me? What did you say?
Craig becomes a minister when the PP wins the second term.
He may become a minister because the PPP is more decent and honest than the coalition.
I'll remind you later down. By the term out, I'll remind you.
Yeah, good, thanks. And don't forget, your friends in the coalition one isn't worth anything. Good, bye-bye. Hello, good evening.
Very good evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go on.
Hi, sir. There are a few things that I wanted to highlight as a concern of my nation, this great country, Guyana. However, first thing first, I know all the eyes set upon natural resources or oil and gas, etc. But I've been a Guyanese since I was born, and that was all going out, you got to get this, you got to get that, you got to what's that. But you hear gold shipping out of the country. If they ain't got no procedure for Guyanese in every region that could purchase X amount of gold, keep either for a souvenir or for the family, etc. or something.
So what? So stop there. What are you talking about? You're not make so with due respect, you're not making sense. The gold board sells gold to registered gold exporter. You can buy billions of gold if you want for souvenirs by just going into a jewelry shop. The gold board does not sell gold to a man come and say, I want a ounce of gold or two. The gold board sells gold to registered gold miners and registered gold exporters. And you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in purchases. You said you're a Guyanese and you can't buy gold. You can buy any amount of gold you want. Just go into the jewelry store and buy your gold. I don't understand what you're saying.
Ever happen not even the jewelry store and you raw gold.
Pardon me?
Even the jewelry store, because which jewelry store the got in Guyana that could sell you raw gold?
Well, if you want to buy raw gold, sir, from the gold board, you have to be a registered gold miner, a registered gold exporter.
No, hear what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. A man can't go on the gold board and buy $5,000 in gold. They don't sell that small quantity of raw gold.
So hear what I'm saying. I'm saying that these are our natural resources for Guyanese, our people. Still using our natural resources to abroad it. So to do whatever exchange or whatever you're doing with it, I don't know, or the government or whoever, private, whatever. Why not pass a legislation in our country for the 10 administrative regions that Guyanese persons who are interested, instead of that these gold, our natural resources, is shipping abroad for some kind of market that could be sold to us as Guyanese.
So I'm telling you this, you've completely lost me. And you have to move on to the other question. I don't understand. I think I'm educated, but I don't understand what you're saying at all. We have a gold board where registered gold people can go and buy gold. I don't understand what you're saying. You have to move on, sir, because I don't understand. I don't understand your first point.
Yeah, my other concern is about these water meters that they're changing. I don't know if it's all across the country, but they started to change our water meters. Now, they changed the water meters, but the water that is still coming through the taps for over 2 years or years, the water still have rust and still have, I don't know, I can't call it the things that is within the water. Now, these meters is to what? Is to get a better charging rate for customers that's using this water, or this meter, or this thing that they put on is to give us a better water, a better gauge of water. This is one of my concerns, because my meter was recently changed, and not only me, it was the whole. I don't know, like through the whole country, but our water still remains the same. When you turn on your taps, these kind of brown elements is inside of it. Now, this meter that is changed here is for what? For what reason they had to change that, and it changed the color of the water. That's one. The second, the other one is, I think this is about the community, our community development program. Let me just say this to you, sir. I'm not a politician, and I don't want to be a politician. When I'm talking speaking about what's concerned me. If it concerns any other person, that's fine. But I think that things could get better as long we go along in our country. The community development program. I believe that's the purpose of the Ministry of Local Government, to get back into the communities and start this program, get back this program and get persons from the community to clean up the community. The alleyways and every way that has happened in this great country of ours. The council or whosoever is not doing a good job, and they got us live
Okay, sir.
in our community. You can see what is you live in, and you must. I can't say but you, but me. If you come through, you can see what if we had persons in our community that is being either being paid by the some local government or being registered, we would have got a better community or a better country for our foreigners. And finally, sir, now this thing with Mark, we named Mark, hope you are aware of. I believe this guy came to Guyana and Boston, and then he went to Suriname, and then he expressed himself really that Chinese to listen to what he was saying clearly. Now, in my own interpretation, this man is trying to listen to this. If you don't pick up what this man is saying, probably my interpretation might be wrong. If you got Chinese in your country and doing what they could do, whatever they want to do, these Chinese got help you fight your war. If you want we put your side, you best take note that that job that the American people could do inside this country, and we could do it far better and include our people working with us. I think the man was trying to say that, look, and it was so embarrassing for know that he go till in another country. So the serious sentiments pertaining to what?
You know, it's unfortunate you didn't see when the program began. When the program began, I read some statistics that show in 2019, 9 CARICOM countries get less than $1 million in U.S. development assistance. But before you go, sir, you should ask yourself if the Americans and the British and the Europeans were our friends for so long. How come the Chinese came in and building roads? I should have grown up seeing the Americans building roads, building our airports. I should have seen the Americans investing. But anyway, thanks for coming through. You made your point. Thanks for coming through. We got other callers got to come in.
I'm not against Chinese doing any business in our
Thanks for coming through. Let me take this other call. Let me take this other call, please. Hello? 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 Hello?
Am I on the Freddie Kissoon show?
Yes. Please lower your volume. I'm hearing the call from the previous caller. Please lower your volume. Hello, madam. A lot of people want to get you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Yes, Mr. Freddie. Good night.
For the third time, good night, madam.
Yeah?
Madam, please lower your volume. I'm hearing the previous call in the background. Oh my goodness.
Yes, hello, you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Why you have the man talking to you nonsense on the phone? Cut him off.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, madam. You can't do that to people. He has a right to express himself. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Let's go on. Time is moving, so let's go on. The cell phone is 614-5927. The landline is 231-2982. Good evening. Let me get this earpiece thing. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Freddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the road that the Secretary of State was talking about, I think is the Hero Highway.
Okay.
Simon. And it didn't done under the previous government. It under the PPP government did that road last year.
Yeah, I'm listening, sir.
Yeah. So that was my that's the reason why I called in.
Okay.
Because of that. Yeah, the PPP did that last year. The reason for that road supposed to be done in a machine from one end to the next, but they did it with farm board or something. That's why you got a dip in the road. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Bye-bye. Good. Time is going. Let's move on. People talking about the road. Secretary of State Mark Rubio said he drove on a piece of road that could give you concussion. That has to be an exaggeration, but that doesn't mean that the road that he drove on wasn't bad. Good evening. Hello? Hello? Hello?
I would like to follow critics.
You know something? Tell me something. Which madhouse they got you out from? I hope they arrest you soon after you leave the madhouse. Maybe I should give Critic this number. This guy called in. I think I'm going to give Critic this number. Good. I'll give Critic this number so Critic can deal with him. He made a flippant remark about Critic. Good. Let me make sure I got it right. Good. I'll give Critic this number. Yeah, let's go on. You must have on an open line like this, you must have jackasses and madmen and mad women and mad people calling in. So good evening.
Hi, Freddie. Good evening.
Hello?
Freddie, I would like to touch on the road issue thing a little bit. Freddie, when these people are talking about complaining about the quality of work on the road, what percentage you think they're talking about? Is it like out of 10 road, one might got a little thing, there's what they're going to condemn all 10 for?
Yeah, I'm listening, sir.
Yeah, are you getting me there, Freddie?
Yeah, everybody be hearing you quite clear.
Okay, yes. And secondly, look, like, for me, I'm living abroad, right? And, sometimes you see a road recently done, like a summertime, a road, they recap a road. Next to summer again, they're gonna recap it again, right? Road always be a problem, and I'm not telling you about no like main high traffic road. I'm telling you about a nice little local road, right? So you always get problem with roads, and I think the point that Rubio made concerning that road, number one, I don't think Rubio even know who built the road that he's talking about, right? So we can't. I mean, those two superpower country at it, we got to give them a chance. And I mean, we mustn't take everything that they say, right? So we understand everything. We understand what's going on. But with a comment that he made, the way he addressed the Venezuela issue, I think we feel much comfortable and we breathe in a little bit better, knowing that we in safe hands. And we must have to say thanks to the Americans for that. And for the caller, I don't know the caller that call trying to. I will say he was trying to bash Craig, right? I don't think Craig deserves that. I think that guy completely off track where Craig is. He don't know Craig, right?
Look, he's an outright. He's an outright either AFC or PNC supporter, and he probably is mad that Craig has gone over to the PPP. Craig,
I will want to.
That's the most sensible. That's the most sensible thing.
Right now,
That's the most sensible
I want
thing.
him to look back at Craig in, let's say, next 5 years, right? Craig is somebody that I got a lot of respect. It's not because he came across to the PPP or he supported the PPP or what, but you don't do somebody something like that. Craig will kick down a door, rush in an office, demanding a minister job or some, and like.
Don't belabor the presentation of that guy. Let's move on. I mean, he called in and he had his say, and that is the right of everyone to have their say. You may not agree with someone's opinion, but they have the right to their opinion. So don't worry with that guy.
Secondly, and finally, Freddie, I know we coming up to the election campaign session and everything, but I think we should have a little bit more peace. We are big people. We gotta get out of that saga of tearing down, licking down, burning down. We need to come election day, we go to the polls very quietly, peacefully. We can't afford to be building until election to smash everything up. We gotta be different people now. We really need to change, and we need that change. We need the understanding and everything. Okay, Freddie. Anyway, I know I have the callers waiting. Have a good night, Freddie.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye. Good evening.
Hi, Freddie. Good night.
Good night.
All right. I'd like to support you on your opening remarks when it comes to dealing with countries as an undeveloped country. I think you're quite right in it here. We need to have a relationship with all countries when it comes to development, especially with the technical part. And I totally agree with you there and support you on that. And the remark that the Secretary of State in relation to the road, I think our government needs to pay a little more attention to these road builders. I think there's a lot of sloppy work being done indeed now, and it needs to be corrected. I know we are developing. We must give our local people a chance to be part of it so they can make money too. We all have to be part of it. But what it needs is the more technical people there to advise the contractors and make sure that the works are properly done. And I think we would got a good way forward. That observation that you made with the U.S. and our country, for quite some time I used to question myself because I know we are an ally of the U.S. We don't have a problem with the U.S. But I asked myself many times what have I seen and what the Americans have done for us in relation to physical work? There's nothing I can actually say, well, okay, America has built this or built that for us. We need them, yes. We know they're a superpower. But the Chinese, I think, are doing a remarkable job. They're here, and they're physically doing stuff, and we can see that. And we must accommodate that, and we must accommodate them. We can't, and not only the Chinese, Indian nationals, all other nationals are being part of it. We have to welcome them. I think we're on a good road, but then again, like I said, the government needs just to open up their eyes a little more when it comes to technical work in the country, and we can get things done correctly. Very good night. You have a best night.
Okay. Bye-bye. In case you missed the opening of this program, I quoted from what Sir Ron Sanders wrote. So Ron Sanders, the son-in-law of the Caribbean icon, show you that ramfall. So Ron Sanders is Guyanese, but he is the Antiguan ambassador to the United Nations. And when he was speaking about CARICOM relation with the United States, this is what he wrote. And I will ask all of you, whether you're not tuning in live now, please go back to the program tomorrow, the next day, and remember what I'm reading now for you. Unfortunately, if the phone rings, I'll have to answer it. The 14 nation independent states of the Caribbean community have been at the bottom of U.S. official development assistance for decades. In 2019, for instance, total U.S. foreign assistance around the world was U.S. $47 billion, of which CARICOM countries receive $338 million, which is 0.7% of that $47 billion. For emphasis, that is less than 1% of total global American aid. Of that amount, Haiti received $268 million of the $338 million U.S. allocated for 14 CARICOM states, leaving the other 13 CARICOM states to share $70 million among themselves. Of that $70 million, 4 of the 19 CARICOM countries receive less than $1 million. You realize 5 years ago, 9 CARICOM countries got aid from the U.S. of less than $1 million. That would include Grenada, that the U.S. invaded in 1983. Do you know, in the past 5 years, every CARICOM country received more than $1 million in US dollar in Chinese aid? Those facts speak for themselves. How can you ask the Caribbean that we must put our eggs in one basket? 9 CARICOM countries got less than $1 million US in development assistance from 2019. That's just 5 years ago. So how Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent, Antigua, St. Kitts, who is providing assistance to these countries when our neighbor is the richest superpower in the world, and they give our CARICOM countries in 2019, 9 of them, less than $1 million. How could anybody look at that and not welcome the Chinese? 1 million, less than 1 million. And I am absolutely certain Dominica, Antigua, St. Vincent, all of them got more than 1 million US in development assistance from China. So I asked the guy the question when he was talking, a caller call in, how come if the US, the UK, but the EU had taken us like babies and were minding us and nurturing us, how come this big vacuum was left in Guyana and CARICOM for the Chinese to come in? We are close allies of the former British empires. We are close allies of Canada and the US. And look, I grew up seeing Tamari Airport as a shack. I grew up seeing Ogle Airport as a shack. I grew up with one road, and one car can't drive up the East Coast or East Bank. And look how much the Chinese have done for us with the airport, with our infrastructure. How can any sane person from Guyana, Jamaica, Africa how can any leader tell their people, we don't want Indian aid, we don't want Chinese aid? The Americans say we are friends. The Americans are our friends, and therefore they should have been treating us like Israel. The Americans are our friends, and therefore they should have already given us a swanking airport. That airport is not even finished as yet. So where are our American friends? Where are our British friends? Where? We're below sea level, hundreds and hundreds of miles of the ocean touching the East Coast Road. We should have had a fantastic sea defense from Fort Groyne right down to Barbies. Who gave us that since 1966? No one has given us that. Our former colonial master was the UK. Look at the UK aid the past 10 years compared to the Chinese aid. We simply, when you have a friend, when you have a parent, that parent must take care of you. How can you have a child and not take care of it? How could you have an ally that is your friend and doesn't have a proper airport, doesn't have a proper hospital, and you can't fix it for them? So what is that friendship for? My point is, the United States, Canada, the EU, India, and China are all our friends. We need them, and we must ask them for things. We must not shut out India. We must not shut out India in preference to China. We must not shut out China in preference to the US. We must not shut out the US in preference to India. They are big, large countries, and we need their development assistance. So when Mr. Rubio came here, you must understand where Mr. Rubio is coming from, and Mr. Rubio must understand where we are going. And the Jamaican Prime Minister told him where the Caribbean is going and where the Caribbean came from. He was right there. They were having a joint press conference, and the Jamaican Prime Minister said, no. We need the Cuban medical brigade. The Cubans came here, and they've been working their butt off. Why is the Georgetown Hospital populated with American doctors? Why are they populated with Cuban doctors? Please have some common sense and ask yourself, if we were so close to these Western countries, why aren't we seeing their doctors in the hospital? Which American doctors at the Georgetown Hospital? Can we ask the United States to send us 1,000 doctors to work here for the next 5 years? Where are the European doctors at the Georgetown Hospital? They wouldn't come and work for the like that. They wouldn't come. So the people who have come and helped our medical system are the Cubans. How can the US government say, we think you shouldn't have the Cuban medical brigades coming here? We need them. The United States need Greenland, and they say they will take Greenland. That's no business of Guyana. We need the medical system. And why we need the medical system? Because France and Canada and Australia aren't sending their doctors here to help us. It's so commonsensical, man. It's so commonsensical. Anyway, our time is going. We started late, it's 10 o'clock, but we're going after 10. We're going 5 minutes after 10 because we started late. So feel free to call in 614-5927-231-2982. Call in. No one has called in as yet about Melly Mel. I think most people are talking about Secretary Mark Rubio thing about the road. It turned out tonight, for the past hour and a half, the comments on the phone that Mr. Rubio was wrong. The road that he said you can get a concussion driving on was not built by the Chinese. So I don't think Mr. Rubio knew that. So let's talk about maybe other things before the 5 minutes go. Apart from road, the opposition criticized the government, saying that the government was powerful. The government got Melly Mel arrested. Melly Mel was arrested because she overstayed her visa. And so many others. Mark Rubio, Secretary of State, was proud to say that his department, have canceled more than 300 visas. So they're canceling visas like hell in the US. So let's we got a couple of minutes left, so let's talk about Melly Mel. Talk about any other thing you want to talk about. Melly Mel. Miss Melly Mel has been given bail of $70,000, and I would hope when she goes back on her computer, she does her whistleblowing in a responsible way and stop scandalizing people. That is wrong, and she should be sued for that. People have a right to their privacy. They also have a right to be protected from scandalous, scatological fiction said against them. So, call in 231-2982 and let's talk about Melly Mel, or let's talk about any other thing. So, our time is winding down. Now we have 2 minutes left. So, if I don't hear from you, I will continue to talk about, in case you didn't, you missed it when the program started. This is very timely for you to know what the development aid, the CARICOM. I said I will read it twice. I read it twice, and I'm going to read it a third time because you need to understand where Mr. Rubio is going, and you need to understand where your own country and our beloved region of the Caribbean is going now. Let me read what Sir Ron Sanders wrote about what the Americans say. My operator told me 2 minutes left, so let me read it for you. The 14-nation independent states of the Caribbean community have been at the bottom of U.S. official development assistance for decades. At the bottom of the whole world that the U.S. give aid to, we've been at the bottom. And you asking us not to take Cuban doctors to help us with our health system? In 2019, for instance, total U.S. foreign assistance globally was $47 billion, of which Caribbean countries received $338 million, or 0.7%. For emphasis, that is less than 1% of the global total. Haiti alone received $268 million of that $338 million intended for all of CARICOM countries. So that left the other 13 CARICOM countries with just $70 million to divide it among themselves. 9 of the 13 CARICOM countries got less than $1 million. Less than $1 million. I think that is it for our Friday night program. I'm going to count from 1 to 10, and if there are no calls, we will call it George. We have an interesting guest on Monday. We are back on Guyanese Critic Facebook page, and we have our own Facebook page. It's on the screen there. Let's take this last call. Hello, good evening.
Hi, Freddie. Good night. So, I thought you would usually keep yourself updated with international affairs, but it doesn't seem so. Because if you know what China is doing around the world, you won't be talking China.
Madam, I am not concerned. I am not concerned what China is doing in Tanzania. I don't know. I don't have knowledge. I live in Guyana. Every day I live my whole life in Guyana, and I'm familiar, and I study, and I'm quite familiar with Chinese Indian aid to Guyana. If you have information about Chinese around the world, that's good for you. I don't have that reach that you have. I can only speak about my country. And China's aid to Guyana has been very positive.
Okay, so but you should also be speaking about the Southern Hemisphere too, and not just your country, because we're all around the Southern Hemisphere where China is trying to get a grip of the Southern Hemisphere. So you can't just base your opinion on Guyana. You understand?
I'm basing my opinion on Guyana. I'm basing my opinion on the country I know.
Okay, America is doing what they have to do.
And we, Guyana, should do what we have to do. And China should do what they have to do. Why America alone?
China should not be in the South America taking up space as if they want to control things all over the world here. Because if you know, they're building bases all around the border.
Madam, you started out by telling me I don't know about what's going on. You don't know what's going on around the world. The United States have 252 bases around the world. 252. China doesn't even have 0.0% of that amount. Please go and do your research, madam. Madam, please go and do your research. Madam, please go and do your research. We have to go. Bye-bye. Thank you. Our time has come. We have to go, sir. Well, that's it. That's it for this evening. We will have an interesting guest on Monday. We are back on Guyanese Critic Facebook page, and we have our own Facebook page called the Freddie Kissoon Show. And plus, you can get us on YouTube. Our operators have to go, so I can't take any more calls. We have a very, very pleasant weekend. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.